I'm a fan of fantasy, so I listen to Easy and Alan on their Just a Fantasy Fan podcast. Now here's Easy and Chris Allen.
And that means it must be 10 o'clock on a Wednesday night. It's sometime in the off season.
Yes.
We haven't been here in a while. So welcome to Fantasy Fan Sportscast, one of the great shows on the Sportscrew Radio Network, where I am still their fantasy football champion. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Wow.
Mr. Allen, haven't talked to you in a while. Actually, we did talk a week ago.
Actually, we just saw each other.
We did. We saw each other at a beer tasting, which both of us did excellent at.
We did.
We did.
That is true.
We are great testers of beer. It's a gift, I guess.
Well, we have good experience. I mean, if we're being honest, I mean, a lot of experience, and I think that plays a factor in our ability to judge beer. I mean, if you drink a lot of it, then you're good at judging it. So,
well, you know what though? I know a lot of people who drink a lot of beer. They don't drink good beer, so they couldn't judge beer. I know a few people who drink a lot of Bud Light.
That's fair.
And they would tell you anything we drank the other night was horrible.
Right. And is it true that this is only, I mean, last week was only what, like the second time we've actually seen each other in person?
Probably. It does seem like we see each other every week or roughly 45 weeks a year or something. But I would not have said that until you said it. I thought we met a couple of times, but then I thought, well, I think we didn't. I think we're going to get together much more often, because, we're just,
you live like out in the middle of nowhere.
I do. I live right. We are in the opposite sides of Dayton, technically.
Yes. About as far away from, as we could possibly be.
Well, we're two different counties. I'm a different county.
Right. Yeah.
And actually, I don't know. Are you in Greene or Montgomery where you're at?
I'm in Greene. Are you in Montgomery?
No, I'm in Miami, so neither one of us.
Oh God, yeah, you're like two counties over.
We truly are.
Yeah,
right.
It doesn't get that much farther apart.
Lord, are you in Ohio? Are you in Ohio?
Right. Do you even live in Dayton?
Now, is right. Should we bring up our Dayton Flyers again? I think the last time we did a show,
it's worth bringing up.
They were in they were top 7. Now they're top 4.
Right.
Duke lost again last night, so there's a chance that Dayton moves up to maybe 3. I don't know.
I mean, as long as we're still like up towards the top, I mean, we're now, what is it? How many weeks or like how much more time do we got until the tournament starts?
Oh, the NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
We still have a few weeks because
I was about to say,
I gotta even think. I mean, it'll happen here in the middle of March. So
I'm just waiting because I know that I don't know what it's like for you, but I mean because you work down near where I work at. Yeah. So I mean, I know that the local bars and frickers and all that, they're going to be packed.
Everything is Dayton Flyers, right?
Yeah, it's going to be packed here in the next couple of weeks.
I hate to say it, I'm one of those fair weather fans because I grew up in a house of Ohio State fans. So we always rooted for Ohio State basketball. And then when I was college age, I was a Wright State basketball.
Oh wow, the Raiders.
Followed the Raiders. The Raiders are actually having a very good season.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good chance that the Raiders will also be in the NCAA tournament at this rate. That
has to be like a first time in a while, I would think. It's been.
No, they were just in it a couple years ago. They've actually
both
been
them at the same time.
Oh, both of them at the same time. That I can't. Or no, that might be true.
Yeah.
But this is a mecca for college basketball. When you consider our tri-state area, I know when people say the tri-state area, a lot of times they're talking New York, New Jersey, Maryland. I don't even know. Pennsylvania. I don't know what that tri-state area is.
I'd say, Maryland. I don't know. Yeah.
But when you consider, and I'm not even going to take the whole state. If you just take, Ohio State, go down to Kentucky, University of Kentucky, go over to Indiana.
The Hoosiers.
You have the Hoosiers. And then in that triangle, you have Dayton, you have Xavier, you have Butler, you have, there are a lot of good Cincinnati.
Right. A lot of good basketball schools.
There is a lot of good college basketball in this area. And Wright State's there. I mean, they're competitive. I mean, but they're just obviously, they're not even, I don't think you'd consider them a mid-major even. They're a pretty small conference, but they have made the big dance a few times. Obviously, they have to win their tournament to go.
Yeah. I remember I was in grad school, I think, I think the last time they made a deep run. That was like 2008-ish.
They've never made a deep run. They've lost in the NCAA tournament the first round every time they've been in it.
Really? But I thought Wright State made a good run. Like a couple of
They won the NCAA Division II title.
That's what it was.
They are NCAA champions, but not in Division I.
Right. That's what it is.
And that's when we were fans. Me and my wife used to go when they played in a small gymnasium, like a high school gym. When they won their, we weren't those years where they won their national champions. Sold out, but it wasn't hard to sell out. They only seat I think less than 3,000 people because it was a big gym, or it was not an arena or anything like that. And so, yes, we did win a championship. So there are banners. If I'm not mistaken, it could be two of them.
Okay. I
think we have two banners, and I think we came in second more than once too. So we were a pretty good Division 2 team. So, so yes, there you go. We'll talk basketball. No one cares. No one cares what we talk about. That's why we do it in the off season. We talk about whatever the hell we.
Exactly.
Did you watch the fight the other night? Since we're going to talk about everything.
Yeah, I
didn't watch it live, but I've seen video now.
I've seen the videos and all that. I didn't watch because did you see that when Wilder came out and said that it was because of what he was wearing?
Yeah,
that wore him out, because
boxers will come up with anything.
Oh, sure. And I guess are they doing a rematch?
Yes.
Okay, they're doing another one.
He had like 2 weeks within like 14 days of the end of the fight. Either one could want a rematch. So he immediately came out and said he will take that because that'll be a big payday for him.
Well, sure. I mean, this last fight was a big payday for both of them.
But instead of being 50-50 now because he lost,
this goes to Fury.
It's 60-40 or some weird. I mean, all preset. Which that's the problem with boxing because of that being preset. It makes you always question, is the payday going to be bigger because he lost and now he's not undefeated, or would it have been bigger if he'd have won? I don't know.
Right. Who knows?
The other guy out and it was a draw and all that.
Yeah.
Hey, I was a big boxing fan. Now I'm not even, the pay-per-view isn't the problem for me. The problem is they don't fight till midnight. I'm old.
Right. Yeah.
I'm an old man. Staying up till midnight to watch a boxing match.
Yeah. Even the UFC matches, their main event. Yeah.
They're late.
Yeah.
Now,
just really late.
In boxing, when they do like out of New York, they might be a little earlier, but they still, they still go awful late,
Where did they fight this past? Was it in Vegas? Or where was it?
Yeah, it was Vegas. So that's where most of the big ones are, Vegas.
Yeah, with Caesars or something like that.
Or they're out of the country, and then the time's even weirder.
Right. Yeah.
So I think that was our sports talk for the. I don't know anything else that happened in sports non-football wise.
Not that I can think of.
Started. The Reds have played a few preseason games now.
Yeah, and we talked about the whole Astros thing last week. I'm over it. You know me, I'm not really that big into baseball as it is, but of course. We
talked at the beer show before the beer show. We talked live. Nobody heard our opinion,
right?
Because I just don't care. I'm convinced I've been a sports fan a long time. Everyone is trying to get an edge. I don't know how else to say it. And this was so accepted that ownership, management, and players bought in because it's the way you do sports. You play cards, I play cards. If the guy beside me is not keeping the cards to himself and I can catch a peek, I try not to, but I do it. It's not my fault. And someone say I'm cheating. Someone say that. Someone say you need to tell the guy. And I have been at some tables, small stake.
No, I've told people that.
I your cards the last 2 times. You know, whatever. But there are other people who go, that's the soup. Why would you do that? Now it's not the same kind of cheating. I mean, I didn't rig something up or a mirror or anything where I could see his cards, but I just think I don't know. I mean, an advantage is an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
But
now I'm hearing the retribution is that a lot of the guys are getting beamed now.
Well, that's what they're saying is going to happen, that other players are going to take out. But my problem is, I think is what we talked about. I still think the other players are just mad at them that they got caught.
Well, yeah.
It's back to the steroids. Everyone did it because it was a way to,
But then who was it? Was Canseco the first one that came out and
he was the first one that came out and said they were all doing it?
Yeah.
And then no one believed him. And then eventually it all came.
Yeah. True. And then it was like McGuire, Bonds, everybody. And then everybody got after the big home run chasing from when was that? 2000 and
I don't know. I think it's before 2001. I think it was like in the 90s when. No,
that was in the 2000s. McGuire, Ken Griffey, and Bonds, and all them were chasing it.
But steroids, and even before steroids, there was speed. Back they were. Always said that Babe Ruth was
on something.
Yeah, I mean, whatever gives you an edge.
Mm-hmm. And
the Olympics, every time there's an Olympics, there's somebody gets caught doing something. Did you see? I don't even think we talked about this. Did you see where the curling team? There was a curling team got caught.
Well, how do you cheat at curling? I didn't think that was possible.
I don't know. There's a curling team that's Olympic quality that got caught.
Come on now.
But that's my thing, right? I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's so.
Yeah, everybody's looking to get an edge.
Football, are you a believer in maybe that you just let them do it? Meaning, my argument is the other team should have gone, hey, they're stealing our signs. We got to keep changing it. Meaning, they're hitting our signs. We got to do. So, do you want your team to do everything they can to win?
I don't know about everything.
Okay. That's my point.
I think you gotta, to stay within the bounds of the rules.
That is the problem in sports.
Yeah.
Everyone knows rules in sports are a little gray.
Sure. But when it comes to like the steroid thing, I've never really gotten behind that. So, but for the stealing signals thing, I don't know enough about it to say whether or not, but I don't think that's, I want to say the only thing that I can, I guess, link to that might be an analogy that I understand is what the Patriots thing, videotaping folks from however many years ago that was,
right?
Which I didn't understand what the big deal was behind that anyway, because if they're taping what your guys are doing, then just switch it up, right?
The point there is if before you play, then that's obviously something you can do if you've already played them, and then you find out. And I think a lot of that, from what I understand in the NFL, when it comes to that video retaping practices, is the edge they get is knowing player
like personnel packages.
That gives them a little advantage,
right?
Because then they know who to switch in or out or whatever, or realize that they've got them in a package and then they don't swap out and keep,
right. Play sequences and all that.
Right. But I don't even buy this. I think we've talked a show before where, the coaches putting the piece of paper up in front of their mouth when they call in the plays and all that.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Putting the play sheet over his mouth. We have
the XFL where if you're watching TV, you hear the coach. Now, I've heard that the delay's like 5 minutes.
Right. So you're not going to get anything.
TV, so you couldn't use it.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming if you go back and watch the game later, you can. I mean, I'm saying there's an advantage there, maybe.
Depending on, I don't know how much money each organization has, but I'm sure if they put enough money at it, they could probably reverse engineer play sequences or find coaching tendencies.
These are the best coaches in the world. They'll figure it out. And that's my point. Just put your best players out there. And even, was it Lombardi that said, they know what play I'm running. They still can't stop me. Meaning, Vince Lombardi would have never covered his mouth.
Oh no! He would have yelled the play across the field and let the coach know that this is what play I'm about to run.
Right. Good luck.
Yeah.
Now in baseball, the advantage is if you know the pitch that's coming, there's an advantage. Timing makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe position of the ball, but all that helps.
Sure.
You obviously still have to make contact, but obviously there's a big advantage.
Well, yeah.
That you have the ability to make that play or to know what's coming. And like I said, you're a professional baseball player. You're most of those guys were good hitters, not knowing where the ball was coming. So obviously if you know what's coming and all that, but if they're hitting your pitcher, you change times. Now I've heard a catcher or someone who played against them a few times and said that they were changing their calls constantly.
Okay.
Because they were convinced though that it was just base runners that were stealing the plays versus somebody out in the outfield with a camera.
Yeah.
So it's technology. How are you going to battle against it? I don't know.
Well, who knows? I mean, I'm sure in the next 4 or 5 years there's going to be another cheating scandal that they're going to be doing.
Because there's money involved, there's men involved, there's pride involved, there's fans involved.
Yeah.
So now the last thing on this, do you think they should take their title away?
No,
I don't either. So all right, that wasn't very much fun.
No,
I don't either because no one cares.
They're not going to take their title
There are
away.
a few people that will care, but I'm saying it. Once you celebrate at the end of the Super Bowl or the end of the World Series,
it's over.
For most fans, it's over. No one knows.
Yeah, but then you can't take that away.
Right.
Like once that confetti, starts raining down and people are running out in the field and all that. I mean, it's over.
Right.
And then there's nothing that, and I am yet to see a national sports organization actually put up, have the cojones to actually lay down that level of, we'll say, quote unquote, justice.
Right.
And unless an organization has the ability to do that and deal with the ramifications for doing that, then that's not going to happen.
The biggest one that does it is the Olympics.
Yes,
the Olympics have taken gold.
They've taken medals away.
Yeah. Other people.
But here in the U.S.,
right. Well, but even in the Olympics, though, if you win that gold medal secondhand, I don't know if that's the right term, you're still not on the Wheaties box.
Right.
They don't 6 months later go, oh,
yeah,
put him on the Wheaties box because
we'll Photoshop you in now.
Came in second to a cheater, and now he's first. So
right, we'll just Photoshop you in.
Right, that doesn't happen.
Right.
So,
he won on a technicality.
Yeah. Right. So you're not, and if you're not going to get on the Wheaties box, who cares? So, yeah. And Lance Armstrong, they took away all of his, I want to say he had 7, Tour de France, champions, and those were all taken away. I couldn't tell you who's got them now.
Oh, I have no idea.
The rumor then was I think the guy who was in second place, a couple of those got caught cheating later too. So
the third place guy was probably sitting like, oh, sweet.
Yeah. They're like,
I won.
Yeah. So, all right, let's talk some football. Maybe the last half hour of the show.
All right.
Why? Who knows? Like I said, no one. I have learned. We've been doing this. This will be our 3rd season.
Yeah.
4th season. I can't even remember how many seasons we've done, but we've been around a little while, and I've learned no one listens to us in the off season. Compared to the regular season. So
sure.
This is just for me and you in practice, and for me to get my equipment all in, in shape. I don't know. Where do you want to go first? Because I got to tell you, a lot's going on in my life and things, and now I'm into fantasy baseball. That I've paid very little attention to the combine stuff, other than what the Bengals may or may not do, and does this kid want to play for the Bengals? They are acting like the Bengals are the worst team in the world. And I don't think
they're not good.
Okay, but most teams drafting number 1 have at least had one bad season.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like bad, like they have a bad organization. They are a bad organization.
Over the last 10 years, I think they were in the playoffs 6.
Oh, not bad from a winning perspective.
Well, that's my point. And during the last 10 years, they have paid some players. They have signed all their first round draft picks. They unfortunately the last 3 have got hurt, but not necessarily because of the Bengals. Nothing they did. Meaning, this isn't the Browns of 2 years ago. Let's say, you know what I'm saying?
Well,
the Browns went almost 20 years where I would say they were horrible.
Yeah.
Compared to what the Bengals are. The Jets have almost been horrible for 10 or 15 years.
Sure.
The Buffalo Bills, if you take the last few years out, horrible. My point is, there's a lot of teams out there, to me, that fit that criteria more than the Bengals do. Do the Bengals have issues right now? Yes, but I think any team picking first had an issue. That's why they're picking first.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because if it had actually wound up being Miami, because the whole tank for Tua thing, if they had wound up picking first, I would say that they're in a better position from a team and also from an organizational standpoint than the Bengals are.
Based on what? They've been over 15 years.
Sure, but I have more confidence in the Dolphins having a better season than I have than the Bengals having a good season
next year. Only 1 year though. My thing is, I still think the Bengals have better. Let's say if the team stays the same right now, and that I would include, that means let's say we sign AJ Green back. I think we have better skilled players right now than Miami has.
Doesn't matter, because there's no way that the Bengals are going to wind up getting out of that division when they have to play Lamar Jackson, play against the Steelers twice and Cleveland twice.
That's a different thing. I mean, being in a competitive, to me, that's, if I'm a quarterback, that's not.
No, it's not. It's not a different thing when you were talking about a winning franchise. So if the Bengals can't even get out of their own division, but Miami, who has to play New York, the Jets twice, who we both said aren't all that great.
That's correct.
Buffalo is Okay, they have to play the Patriots twice. So at least who could be bleh. Right. So, I mean, from a divisional standpoint, Miami has a better shot at getting out of their division more than the Bengals.
You put words in my mouth by saying winning opportunity. I never said that. What I said is the Bengals haven't been a horrible franchise in the last 10 years. They've been competitive for the last 10 years. And some people would say the last 2 are because our quarterback couldn't overcome injuries, where maybe a young, healthy quarterback could have done something because,
maybe.
Right. So I don't know. That being said, I've said all along, I don't want him to take him anyway. I'd still rather him pick the defensive guy and take 2 quarterbacks at the end of the first round and hopefully one of them take off. And I'm still not sold that Andy Dalton isn't horrible if we had a better offensive line. So
I don't think he's horrible. Do I think that he's the guy that would wind up at some point or any point take us to the Super Bowl? No.
Okay. I would agree with that, but I also think for the next 2 years, he can do as good as any rookie quarterback we're going to get's going to do.
Right. I don't see Joe Burrow doing it.
Me neither. Right. So that's my point. And in 2 years, we could fix a lot of other things with 2 extra picks in the next 2 first rounds, and then grab who knows, what quarterback or what comes around. But
But I do think that I understand the idea of trying to turn the page organizationally, because they bring in Zach Taylor. They want to start fresh with a new quarterback, that might be able to, I guess, spark some life into that offense. I mean, to be quite honest, if they wanted to do that, they should try and go ahead and just move AJ Green to just have a complete reset.
I think if they're going to pick Burrow, I definitely think AJ Green should probably go too.
Yeah, I think they should just move on. Let's do a complete reset if that's what they want to do. That's my thinking. Instead of trying to tie up that money when it could be spent on offensive line, maybe bringing in a younger wide receiver. Right.
Defense, we need a pass rush. I mean,
we need a pass rusher, anything.
Not put any pressure on anybody last year. And it's like what you just said. We're playing some good offensives in our division. And you have to have a defense, meaning I think in this conference or division, you require really your defense needs to be more stout than your offense to a point, meaning you can win some games if you can score 17 and you have a good defense.
Right.
Because, it's hard to stop a few of these teams now. So
right. But in our division, I mean, that's just not happening against some of these offenses. It's going to be hard to watch it again.
And then you have Pittsburgh's going to need a quarterback in the next few years, I think.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Ben's coming back anyway, but we'll see.
I mean, I think he's on contract already, so why not?
I know, but he could retire. I think they even say, it's all. We'll see. Other than that, I don't know. I really haven't paid a lot of attention to anything. Is there anything major going to happen in the combines? To me, I just waited to what happened, and then I make my fantasy, information based on who went to what team after the draft, but not the combine itself.
The only thing that, because I'm paying attention somewhat to the athletic testing just because that intrigues me.
Yeah.
But really, when it comes to, I just want to see, just fast forward to April when these guys get drafted. Yeah. It'll be cool to see, if anybody's going to break John Ross's speed record for the 40 or whatever. But Joe Burrow,
even that doesn't make Ross has proven that really doesn't even matter.
Right. It doesn't matter. But still, teams like that.
Well, right. Well,
that's what cemented him as getting it. His butt picked in the early first round.
Again, the combines to me now is all about rounds 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Well, yeah, but that's not how.
Half the people that are going in round 1 aren't even going, or aren't even going to participate, or aren't even going to.
Well, that's the thing I was just going to say, because Joe Burrow, he's not going to throw.
Nope.
We already know Tua's not going to do anything.
Nope.
I think there was one other quarterback that I saw that he's not going to. Young.
He's not participating.
Right.
It's all their pro days.
Right.
And that has, that seems to be more of a thing now than the combine, unless you're in that. Like Wesley last year, he trying to get from, being at the late and whatever. And he didn't even go to the combine and still end up going 4th round.
Right.
But he explained that, that's because people already knew he had enough good tape out there being a 4-year starter.
Right.
That they didn't want to waste, a visit or a spot for him at the combines because everybody knew that's where he was going to, kind of go. So,
yeah, I think other than that, the only other thing that I think will really come out of the combine is the CBA negotiations.
That's where I was going to go next.
Yeah, I think that's really the only other big thing that's going to come out of this, is because you've got the owners there, you've got players there, you've got GMs there. Pretty much all the movers and shakers that you would want to get in a room together.
I am amazed in a negative way that the Players Association just lets more or less the first thing come down the pike. And I know they went back and forth a little bit, and boom, I was one of those that thought we wouldn't have a season at some point, because I thought the players would finally fight for some things. Like baseball fights. The owners are scared of the Players Association in baseball. Because it
is not that way in the NFL. I can tell you that.
Exactly. And I thought with the amount of money, with the way the league's going right now and things, I just thought this was the time that they could have stood up and said, let's push for something more. And
I was hoping to hear more about, because when I first saw that first proposal where it was you tack on the 17th game, but max you're making is $250K. I thought were the game checks for you could max out at that for the 17th game, the expanded playoff structure. But really, I didn't really see anything that worked towards giving the players more time. I didn't hear anything about a second bye week.
Right. That was my, I really was hoping. And I think even for fantasy, if you added the 17th week, but added another bye week, that made the season 2 weeks longer. For fantasy, it really, now you could be playing, a few more weeks of fantasy. Right. So I was a little excited about that, but I also understand you have injury issues, it's
right.
Back, the whole thing. And, I don't know. I just thought they would put out now after it's been approved by the Players Association, now players are coming and say, well, they shouldn't have approved it.
Yeah. I don't like, I'm voting no. Yeah. I don't want to do this.
But it doesn't, because of the way it works, the Players Association for each team, is supposed to get a vote from his team, and then he's the spokesperson. And
yeah. And I've seen some pretty notable guys come out that are representing their teams. I know, like Richard Sherman, he's representing San Francisco. He's voting no. Aaron Rodgers, I think, released a statement saying he's voting no from Green Bay after talking to the guys.
They've already voted. Those guys are saying they did vote no, if I'm not mistaken. They
did vote no. That's what I'm saying. Like, it was interesting to see how many guys that are, I guess, they've already made their money, right? Like Richard Sherman's already made his money. Aaron Rodgers has made his money. Like Russell Wilson made his money, and he's still got more money to make. He's only like, do you think he just turned 31 or something like that? Mm-hmm. So he's still got about 8 years or so left in the tank for him, or probably at least another 1 or 2 contracts. But it was interesting how a lot of the top 1% guys were coming out saying that they didn't want to have anything to do with this CBA, but yet like so many other guys were like, yeah, let's do this. Like, more work? Like, how can you support that?
Right.
I don't understand. Like that to me, it just makes for an awkward locker room situation. Come like game day.
And
like,
I didn't hear. Did anything change preseason game wise? I thought there was one.
I heard of.
Right. So there's still 4 preseason games.
Yeah, I don't get that.
So I don't know. I really, when I looked at it, I'd have voted no. I mean, I'd have voted no. Just say, let's put up a little bit of a fight. We don't have to. Yes, today.
I guess I'm not really seeing the benefit to the players at this point. Like even the additional, I guess there was a slight change in revenue share.
Yeah,
like they picked it up a point or two.
Bigger pie being shared,
right?
That was going to happen anyway. It could have. If anything, that should have come with no change. Meaning, even if there wasn't an extra a game or anything like that. And, I don't know. And then
so I thought they had more leverage than what they are, I guess, are.
Then I didn't think about this till I heard it the other day. I mean, I'd never paid any. I didn't even dawn on me. If there's 17 games, half the league's going to have 1 less home game and 1 more road game. Right. So because there's no even, now somebody said they were going to do it NFC, AFC, meaning one season, all the AFC teams would lose a home game.
Right.
The next year they'd gain the home game.
How do you schedule that fairly?
I don't know.
That's just a nightmare.
Right.
And I'd be pissed if I was on the team that had their bye week in week 4. Like you have your bye week in week 4, then you got to play 12 weeks straight.
That though, will they change that? Because now you got to. Would they now say, okay, let's just move the bye? Which I still don't understand why they wouldn't have done 2 bye. Well, let the guys have 2 weeks off, in different times and be done. And it gives them a break, and then they're healthier and the whole thing. Could you deal with a weekend in the middle of the season with no football at all? Like if there was an all-star break type thing in baseball, basketball, every sport has it where they almost just stop for a week, and nothing's going on. Could you live with that if that would be an option? If they just said, hey, you know what, week 8, there's no games.
Yeah. Why not? Well, essentially move the Pro Bowl
but picture the middle of the season, you're middle of fantasy, and you're like, damn it, I want games today. And there are none.
Yeah. No, as long as it gives them more rest, and then we're not having to worry about in weeks 14, 15, or 16, if these guys are actually going to be playing.
Right.
I would rather that. Move. I mean, hell, nobody really pays attention to the Pro Bowl anyway. So move a Pro Bowl like event into the middle of the season.
Well, I think the problem you'd have with that now is you'd have the better players not getting that week off, and now that's
they can still choose to go or not. I mean, it's not like during the off
not to go, so it would be a bad event. I'm just saying, I still think they could work it a way where the teams get just 2 bye weeks at different times. But then I was like, hey, just, week 10, there's no games. Then, half the league's going to have a bye, sometime before that week 10, and some are going to have a bye the week after, sometime after that. And, then that's what you get. So every team will have 2, but only 1 time will it happen, with everybody. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, but I'm hoping that they find a way, or the players find a way to make this work out best for them.
Well, I agree too. Right.
Because that's really all I care about. I mean, and it's just, to me, it doesn't seem like they're getting much in return for doing additional work.
Right.
So I don't know
anything. I think they did add a couple, I think 5 more years of disability or insurance or whatever for retired play. I think there were some things, but and some people say that's major, but I do, if I could be wrong, but I thought they tacked on 5 additional
years. Take care of the vets.
So, that's kind of a, that's something. Like I said, I was just a little disappointed that my argument would be, even if they just settled on this after 2 votes against something else, meaning it's like they're accepting this and didn't even fight for anything. That's my point. I'm not even saying this is good or bad. I was just like expecting at least, a little bit of effort or fight. Right. I'm sure there's people out there smarter than me that would, maybe say, no, this is good for a few players. So we'll see how it goes. Other things, I guess before I go to just some random things, is there any big news or big player things that you want to talk about?
Nothing I can think of. Well, let's talk about it from this perspective. So the free agency class. So like the veterans that are on the move, most likely. So from, let's say, Devonta Freeman to possibly Tom Brady, although I don't think that's the case. Marcus Mariota, Phillip Rivers, like some of the quarterbacks. I mean, those guys. Yeah, a bunch of quarterbacks. But even into like the running backs and even like a couple of wide receivers who may be on the move. But yeah, some of those guys. I wanted to get your thoughts on them.
Well, I had them pulled up, and then I thought we would go a different direction. I'm not, how do I want to say this? Very rarely the NFL doesn't surprise me. So I'm guessing if we named 20 players, 10 of them will sign with the team they were on anyway.
Right. Because we were just talking about AJ Green and most
we talk about it every year.
Yeah.
Then when it comes right down to it, not a lot happened.
Yeah.
Obviously most of the quarterbacks that we're talking about that could switch are people that are questionable anyway. Because we can say Brady isn't questionable, but he is because of his age. Rivers, his age. That's just part of it. Mariota hasn't been that good. Dak Prescott to me was the biggest one, but I don't think anything's going to happen there. I think he's going to be a Cowboy, so I don't even count him. So
what about that? So the Cowboys in general, so they got to make big decisions with Dak and Amari Cooper. Now I'm assuming, I guess from all of the posturing that Jerry Jones is making, that they're going to somehow find a way to keep both of them, and I think they should. But it's just that after that big Zeke contract last season,
they don't have a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how that's all going to.
But it doesn't mean they don't work it out. That's back to the other issue. They'll seem to work it out. I'm the same way. That is a team and an issue. And like I said, maybe it's just me trying to get into baseball mode, and I haven't paid that much attention to free agency because in football, it just never seems to. I don't get surprised that often.
Right.
So it's not like baseball where free agency is a really drawn out long thing and things really do happen. Players very rarely when you go out on free agency do you end up back with your team. Where it seems like in the NFL they always do.
I'm sure that for a couple of guys that's probably not going to, like Melvin Gordon, but he's not going to be with the Chargers next season.
Okay, but the difference in the two sports though is in baseball as you get older, your skill level doesn't necessarily drop off as much. And if anything, you're a veteran, you're still there. In football, it's still just so physical. By the time a lot of these guys are free agent, eligible, they're worn down and their teams know that. So
yeah.
And they don't get, it's not like they leave for big money all the time. Yeah. I'm sure there is. Last year, who was the biggest high dollar off season, guy that was signed in free agency last year?
Signed in free agency that I can think of off the top of my head. Well, now after the season was over, it's probably Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, but that's not one we'd have said when it happened.
Yeah. Well, I think that the media turned it into like an immediate controversy.
Sherman was signed. He was a free agency signed with the 49ers.
Yep.
But we knew he wasn't going back to Seattle because there was anyway. So that wasn't a surprise. He didn't have that option. But that's my point. Some of the biggest free agent signings in football usually happen are linemen that most of us don't know names or don't know a lot about anyway. And those are the ones that make the biggest difference team-wise. For fantasy, the fantasy people that we know don't usually change or it doesn't affect anything.
Or they're like the guys that kind of come out of nowhere, right? Yeah. Like the Ryan Tannehills and like players like that, where it's just, oh, okay, well, there's a buzz about when the transaction happens, but we really just like, oh, well, that'd be cool, like if this situation were to occur, but really we're not going to draft for that actually happening. I don't think anybody was drafting Ryan Tannehill at the back end of their drafts, like in August of last season, thinking that, oh, okay, well, he's going to wind up, being one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league come week 7, week 8.
Right. I agree. I'm going to go down the list, Ben. I saw a thing the other day about the biggest question each team has to face in 2020 for fantasy.
Yeah.
And I'll just go. We won't do every team, but we'll just kind of go down here and hit a few that I think are big names or things. And the first one is the Buffalo Bills. Is it fair to say Devontae Singletary will enter the 2020 as Buffalo's feature running back?
No.
See, I agree with that too. Now, I would not if I could get him late enough, I'd like to have him, but I agree.
Third, fourth round, if I'm not mistaken. Third, I think, yeah.
Right. So that's a big thing. The other one was just the Baltimore Ravens. Will the Baltimore Ravens go after wide receivers in free agent and the draft? And how will that affect the Ravens for fantasy football?
Free agency.
And how will it affect Lamar Jackson if they have better wide receiver core? Does that hurt his value because he might not run as much, or does it help his value because he'll have someone to throw to?
That depends on who they get in free agency. So if we're looking at let's say, because I'm looking at the list of wide receiver free agents. So let's say if they were to get somebody like if they bring back Brashad Perryman, so you've got a speedster on the outside that can win on the outside. I think that would be pretty good signing for them. That I don't think would come at a high cost.
He's already on their team once.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. If they were to bring him back, but after he showed out in Tampa Bay last season, after Chris Godwin and Mike Evans went down, I mean, why not?
The Ravens, he was never healthy.
Yeah, exactly. And he was able to stay healthy all last season. He comes back to the Ravens.
How would a better wide receiver core affect Lamar Jackson's value?
I don't think it would affect Lamar Jackson's value because Lamar Jackson is already being drafted at his peak value. He's going like the first or second round.
If you are a top free agent wide receiver in the free agency, would you want to go to Baltimore where their quarterback isn't throwing, even though their quarterback's not throwing to somebody?
You mean to tell me that I have a shot at the very least? I mean, you're going to the playoffs. You've got a shot at the AFC title again.
I know, but there are guys out there that like to get 100 yards. They like to get their 80 to 125 catches.
Well, in Brashad Perriman's case, I mean, he would be pushing for that. Well, I wouldn't say be pushing for that many yards, but at least in terms of opportunity, he should be able to beat out the guys that were playing like Miles Boykin. He should be able to beat him out. I mean, probably not Marquise Brown, but I mean, some of the jokers that like Lamar Jackson had to throw to. Willie Snead. You mean to tell me that Brashad Perriman can't beat out Willie Snead? I mean, so I think at least from an opportunistic standpoint,
he has pretty hair.
Oh, he does. He does have some pretty hair. But I'm saying like Brashad Perriman should be able to beat out somebody like that.
Considering how he flashed in the past season, will wide receiver John Ross finally enjoy a breakout season in 2020?
A breakout season? I mean, no, because that's just not.
I don't think so because of quarterback.
That's not how they operate.
The best case scenario for him, Andy Dalton stays.
Right.
Other than that, it could be a rookie that,
So assume it's Burrow. I mean, I don't really see Burrow like just completely unloading it because we expected Kyler Murray to do that down in Arizona, and Kyler Murray wasn't doing that this past season. So if you put him in a weaker, if you take let's say a lesser prospect, because I'm thinking that Kyler Murray is a better prospect than Joe Burrow. So if you take a lesser prospect in a worse situation, because Cincinnati is a worse situation than Arizona, I don't think that's going to work out. I don't think you're going to wind up with a breakout season.
How worried should we be about the tight end, David Njoku, after he fell so far in 2019?
Very. I mean, if from a dynasty perspective, if you own him,
he's a sleeper tight end for me right now. If I don't go tight end early, I'll take him late and I'll grab somebody else. Because I still think part of his problem was Baker Mayfield. And I think that was a lot of their offensive problem last year. And I think I'm hoping for the Browns' sake and just for our division, I hope Baker Mayfield got his head out of his ass this offseason and comes back.
It sounds like it. Latest reports are showing that he wants to.
Right.
Yeah, he's trying to, slim up, make himself a bit more mobile.
Right. So
concentrate on his craft. He hasn't been on Twitter.
Again, right. Njoku, I would take a gamble on him late because I think he's going to go late. I think he should. He's going to drop quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I would take a shot. It's tight ends. There's only 2 or 3 anyway. Other than that, all of them are crapshoots anymore.
Sure.
Do you believe wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster can return to his 2018 form with Ben Roethlisberger back under center?
No.
Yeah, me neither. I think that's a problem.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh has a problem. And I don't know. I am going to stay away from the Pittsburgh offense in my fantasy drafts next year as of right now. I'll
take shots at James Washington and Deontay Johnson late.
Those would be shots. Those are real late.
Or at the very least, I'll take shots at Vance McDonald.
What I'm meaning is round 8 and up. I don't see any Pittsburgh Steelers on my team.
I don't want James Conner.
I don't either.
I might have a few shares of Juju, but overall, I'm not all that interested.
If Juju fell, let's say I go running back, heavy, and maybe a third running back, and then blah blah, and then you know what, you get Juju Schuster as your second or third, and you're hoping, and then because when I do that, then I get like 8 wide receivers, hoping 3 of them take off. I would maybe take that shot, but
sure.
Speaking of wide receivers, how concerned should we be about Will Fuller?
Well,
he can't stay healthy.
He can't stay healthy, but it's not like the team is going to move, at least from a redraft perspective. I mean, you would approach him the same way you approached him last season. Team's not going to cut him. Not going to move on from him. Right. And even if they do draft another wide receiver, unless they draft another wide receiver that has the same archetype that matches Will Fuller. So if they go out and pick up somebody like Henry Ruggs, so he's like the new, speedster, the guy that's saying that he might beat John Ross's speed time. So if they get somebody that has that type of ability, or that's what his thing is, then sure, I'd be concerned. But I don't really see them going after somebody like that. But they do need receiver help.
Yes, they do. All right. Do you believe wide receiver DJ Shark is the real deal and will repeat his breakout season? But my concern is he dropped off a lot at the end of the season. So I know he had a big season, but he did drop off at the end.
Well, part of that was injury.
Okay. But what do you think? Do you think he's the real deal?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, from a yards per target, yards per route run, he seemed to be checking off like quite a few of those analytical boxes. And from like his size and speed measurements, he also seems to fit that profile as well. But really, for me, it comes more down to like what their quarterback situation is going to be.
Did you say butter? But
yeah, that's my concern.
I won't own him anywhere next year.
Why not?
Why not? We've had this argument multiple times. I need to see 2 years. 1 year is not enough for me.
No, I mean, especially he's going cheap because a lot of people are having the same.
You have to fall enough. That's my point. Right now,
yeah, I don't hate players. I hate ADPs. And if right cheap.
I'm not DJ Shark. I think especially we talk this all the time in what I call home leagues, he's going to go way too high. Because
what is way too high?
Third round.
No, he's not going in the third round.
Oh, I know it will. I know there's people that'll go that had him last year. They go, I really need him this year. And if I don't get him in the third, I probably won't get him coming back in the fourth. So I'm going to take him.
Absolutely. That's wild to me.
In home leagues, you watch. That's the kind of player that goes because that's all people remember is that they won him he won him, the middle of the season. He probably won you 5 or 6 games in the beginning of the season last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying he's going to go way too high.
Let's see. I've got best ball ADP right here. Now I need to know what he's
right
worth.
now. That ADP, we've had this argument. That ADP means nothing right now because it's all people who know how to play fantasy football. That ADP does not include Aunt Betty, Uncle Bob, Mama Cass. It doesn't. Those people.
So he's got fifth, sixth round ADP.
Okay. And that's my point. If he's going in the 5th round with what I would call experts, home league people will just go, oh, that Shark guy, he was awesome last year. I'm taking him now. I'm just saying.
I don't think
How
so.
concerned should we be about running back Derrick Henry holding up next season after his 400 touches this season? Meaning, is he going to wear out or a pretty big boy? I think if anyone can have it was him, but we have seen this before where guys just touched the ball so much one year that the next year coming back, they struggle a little bit. So what do you think?
It's not just that. I think it's also the efficiency with which he produced, like coming down the stretch. I mean, the guy ripped off 2 or 3 200-yard games back to back to back. Yeah. I mean, so
and they went to the playoffs.
They went to the playoffs. So you had a couple of games where he got 30 touches, I want to say, in both of those playoff games. So unless you're expecting, if you're expecting him to come back and repeat what he did last season, forget about it.
I'm guessing his ADP, he's going in the 1st round, right?
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah, okay. Back end, I think he's right now RB 6, 7, something like that.
That ADP means nothing because those are real football fans. Derrick Henry in home family leagues, middle of the 1st round, could go 4th pick. Who knows? People are crazy, but.
So let's see. It is in early best balls. This is FFPC leagues, which is the more, let's say expertise leagues.
Well, they're all nobody that's in a home league is playing best ball right now.
Let's see. It goes Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Zeke, Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, then Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry is being drafted as the RB6.
See, I'd rather have Mixon in the 2nd.
Mixon is going right after him.
You think?
Honestly, I'd rather have Nick Chubb. I'd put Mixon and Nick Chubb.
I would take Chubb also later than Derrick Henry. Meaning, I would rather take someone else in the 1st round and hope.
But some of those same narratives that you're talking about, some of them hold in best ball. That people will see that. Oh, look at what Derrick Henry just did last season. I want to get that guy for right now.
Quit making me look bad.
I'm just saying it happens. People I
know, but it happens. You've done this long enough. No, things are nuts in home leagues.
Mm-hmm. They're also nuts in best ball leagues because guys want to plant their flags and they want to get their shares of a specific player early because they know they're not going to be able to get a hold of them.
Oh, excuse me. Will Josh Jacobs play a larger role in the passing game in 2020?
He should.
Vegas.
He should, because even though that they just re-signed Jalen Richard to, I think it was a 2-year extension, 2 or 3 year extension. DeAndre Washington, the other backup, he's set to hit the free agency market. And so DeAndre Washington, I think if I'm not mistaken, he had 30 or 40 targets. So if we think Jalen Richard still gets his normal role, maybe he gets a short bump, Josh Jacobs should still get quite a few more targets on top of being their primary running back. And you got to remember, Josh Jacobs, he learned route running, he did route running drills with Julio Jones, before the draft. So he is a legitimate, he could be a Saquon Barkley-esque type player in terms of how he can be used in the passing game. Very similar.
He's going to be one of those 3 down backs, though.
He can be, absolutely. It's just it's just if does Gruden want to use him? Does Gruden want to
rather have him than Derrick Henry?
Yes.
Okay. If Melvin Gordon doesn't return, will the Chargers commit to Eckler as their feature back?
No. Anything that so that's one of the things that I have picked up from the combine. Head coach Anthony Lynn, he was at the podium or like doing one of his press conferences in Indy, and his indication was that I think he said specifically that Austin Eckler, he wants to get him the ball about 15 to 20 times. Now, if you've ever heard coaches talk about any other primary workhorse backs, they've always used 25 to 30 times. That those numbers are inflated, obviously, but the number is always larger. 15 to 20 from a head coach to me sounds like a rotational running back. So, and they've still got Justin Jackson. I would assume they're going to be in the market for picking up a running back in the draft. So, no, I don't think they're going to commit to him. And Austin Eckler is actually carrying a pretty hefty cost too, like second, third round, like something like that.
Right. We're going to run out of time, so we obviously won't do as many. I'll have to keep this list, and we'll come back when we come back again. But I'll do the last one because I've seen a couple of different things on this one anyway. And that is, so I don't know if I just want to ask the question because the way this is worded, and then what I heard today, and that's what I say. What I heard today is Washington is exploring all their options for offense, including quarterback. So this question is, have you seen enough in Dwayne Haskins to believe he's the long-term answer at quarterback for Washington?
No, I haven't seen that, but I don't think, well, let me take that back, because we've seen a team do this before in that they spent like high draft capital on a quarterback and then come right back the next year
with a new coaching staff.
Right, especially with a new coaching staff. So it's not outside of the realm of possibility. I mean, hell, like Arizona just did this last year. I mean, 2 years ago, they drafted Josh Rosen at the top of the draft, and then they came right back next year, like after they got their new head coach, and then they have Kyler and Cliff.
Right.
So it's not outside of the possibility.
Outside of possibility that the Bengals do something crazy and pick Young at number 1, and the Redskins are sitting there going, we'll take.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It just depends on who is taken ahead of them, and if let's say if Rivera, right, if Rivera has his guy and says that, all right, well, if we can get Burrow, we got to take Burrow.
Right.
But if Cincinnati picks Burrow, they'll just be like, all right, well, then we'll go in a different direction.
Right.
But like you just said, if the Bengals wind up taking, Young or something like that, and then Burrow's still sitting there, then everything changes after that. But do I think that Dwayne Haskins showed enough to be their long-term answer? No. But I think there were too many other things wrong with that squad to begin with for him to really have been given an adequate shot to do that. So I can't really place it all on his shoulders anyway.
Right. All right. Do you believe a third-year breakout is in the cards for wide receiver Tre'Quan Smith for the New Orleans Saints?
Nope.
I don't either.
No, because it looked like he was losing that deep speedster job like down the towards the end of the season anyway. I mean, they were still trying to rotate Ted Ginn in, and what's the guy's name? Not Tommy Lee Lewis. There was another speedster that they were trying to mix in. I think he was like undrafted, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they were mixing other guys in when Tre'Quan was supposed to be that guy. I mean, they were relying more on Michael Thomas and Jared Cook than trying to, use Tre'Quan Smith as their number 2 receiver. So something drastic has to change in order for that to happen. And so far, TQ hasn't really showed that he can handle that load.
All right. Last question. What are the chances that DK Metcalf will emerge as a superstar in his second season?
I mean, he's already taken over that number 1 wide receiver role. I mean, if you were starting an NFL franchise,
superstar.
Yeah, but I mean, I think he's on that path to become that. I mean, if you were restarting the Seattle Seahawks like franchise right now, who would you want more between DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett? It's DK Metcalf.
Superstar to me is really up there. Name me who are the superstar wide receivers right now?
Michael Thomas, Julio Jones,
Mike Evans still, or is he?
I don't know if he's a superstar. I mean, he did.
I think he was, but I think last year changed that, right?
Yeah. So I don't know if he's a superstar, but he's definitely an elite wide receiver. And do I think DK Metcalf can hit those highs? Yeah, I honestly do.
So in fantasy, will he be drafted up there with those guys?
He already is. No, not with those guys. No, I'll take that back. He's not being drafted with those guys.
You just said he's capable of doing what those guys are doing. So where is he a steal in the draft for you?
Well, right now, if I think that he can make it to that, then his current draft cost of, so where is he being taken right now? So DK Metcalf is being taken at overall pick 59. So that is the end of the 5th round. 50. So if I think that
is that best ball 10 players versus
12.
12.
Right. So 59, that's the end of the 5th. Okay. So if I think that he can be on that trajectory to finish the season as a Mike Evans, as a Michael Thomas or whatever, so then I would be trying to snatch him up everywhere I could because he's being drafted.
Would you gamble on him in the 4th?
Depends on roster construction, but quite possibly.
All right.
I would prefer him to Tyler Lockett at this point.
You went running back, and let's say you start out with 2 running backs and Kelsey. Would you consider DK Metcalf? You're in the 4th, your first. If you could get him, would he be the first wide receiver you'd consider?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. Would you rather have him over AJ Green stays with Cincinnati? Would you rather have AJ Green or DK Metcalf?
No, I'd still rather. I mean, that's personal bias. I'd rather have AJ Green.
Okay.
That's I can't get over it. He's my favorite player.
Now, where would AJ Green go where you definitely would pick him, and where would he go where you definitely wouldn't pick him?
Probably anywhere after the 7th round, 7, 8, 9.
No, I'm talking teams.
Oh, teams? Like what team would he have to go to where I wouldn't pick him?
Patriots.
Of course I'm taking him. Yeah.
Okay.
Because then that shows that they're pushing all in.
The 49ers, would you move him up?
Yes. Because I can't see that happening contractually because
that's not what I'm asking. I'm just trying
I know.
And if he ends up in Tampa Bay, would you move him up?
No.
Okay. You don't think? I think him. I think he'd be good in Tampa Bay.
That's with
he wouldn't have the pressure. They'd have 3 great wide receivers.
But what's the opportunity? How many targets he's going to be getting?
He'd get them all. Because
he's not beating out Godwin and Evans for targets.
What about Tennessee?
Tennessee, sure. Give me that.
What about
he can kick Corey Davis out.
The NY Jets?
No.
I would drop.
No.
The Giants?
The Giants, sure. Yeah.
Bump him up.
Why not?
I think with the new quarterback there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, why not? Put him in Indy. That'd be great.
Indy, I think still it depends on who the quarterback is there.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be Rivers.
Sounds like isn't Rivers yet, but okay, if Rivers is there, I'd have no problem with AJ Green.
Although to be quite honest, there's not a ton difference other than Rivers
is still there, right? Hilton's had injury issues, but would AJ Green
he can play opposite
be on the field together? You think and be viable?
Mm-hmm.
If they're both on the field together, Rivers, let's go. Okay, Rivers is their quarterback. They're together. Who are you drafting first, T.Y. Hilton or AJ Green?
I already said it's AJ Green. Of course, it got to be AJ.
All right. Last couple of quick notes this year, and it came out earlier, which part of me is excited, and I've already watched a lot of it. And that's the All or Nothing show. If you're an Amazon Prime person, that is the Hard Knocks show, but during the regular season. Where they go through all the games and follow one team, and it happens to be the Philadelphia Eagles. I recommend it, but I am upset it's already on because I kind of liked when they would put it on. They used to put it on, right when preseason was starting or right when, teams were going back and all that. And you were hungry for football and this gave you football, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And now, I'm watching it, but I can't wait. So I'm watching it now. But no, the new All or Nothing is out. And if you're Philadelphia, I like it anyway. I don't think you have to be a fan of the team one way or the other. I like the insides of a team and how they set up and the coaches meetings. I don't know how many people watched the Cardinals last year. They're a good show. So if you like Hard Knocks and you want some football without watching the XFL, It's which I've yet to really do. I've had glimpses, but I've yet to be able to watch a game. So, I kind of put that out there. So, and then tomorrow, the actual combine starts. So they've got the NFL Network. Most of it is on live. So enjoy watching that. Other than that, Chris, we've already talked. We're probably going to little random schedule, hopefully maybe every other week. But we got a beer show commitment mixed in. We might skip another week. You guys can HBYOB Brewcast or watch our Twitter and or Facebook feeds. And I'm going to say, this is the first time we are, again, we're preparing for next season. We are going out live right now on Facebook and YouTube.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we are now streaming both video sources at the same time. So
fun.
We'll get it all working and get ready. Chris, throw out articles. What's going on? Are you on break? Where can people find you?
No, you can find me on Twitter at Chris Allen FFWX. They've made me the director of best ball content over at 4for4. So
we have to get a show where we really go into depth in the best ball.
Yeah, I've got my first article out on best ball, just kind of looking at high level strategies, like from a roster construction standpoint. So I broke that down analytically based off of some of the data that we got from both Fanball and the FFPC. So I took a look at that. So that one dropped a week before. Yeah, either last week or week before. No, it was last week. Yeah, it was last. No,
last 2 years, my best ball strategy is I should just take the $10 and wad it up into a ball and throw it out. Just throw it right outside my door.
Gotcha.
Because I play best ball for fun, and that's probably wrong. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I do it to just kind of get an idea of draft. Who's going.
That's mostly why I do it, but at the same time, I like getting
a strategy to win, though.
Yeah, I like employing different strategies. I like building a portfolio of players, like testing the market and seeing how players are valued. A lot of what I do in best ball helps inform my draft strategies for redraft. So there's a lot of takeaways. Like, obviously you have to understand the difference between like best ball and redraft, and of course like bringing in like weekly volatility and all that.
Right.
But I've got a small team of folks over at 4for4, and so we'll be pumping out content every week, so you can look for more articles there.
Get that right.
Yeah. So we'll be a lot of stuff there.
All right. Good. That'll be fun. So we'll post when we're going to be popping on and doing a show. Like I said, I've learned in the off season, no one cares what me and you have to say. And, but we do. I had fun. I
always do.
And, we got to talk about our Dayton Flyers.
Of course.
By far much more important.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, Chris, thanks for coming on.
Always.
And, hey, you've been listening to a Fantasy Fan Sportscast on, I forgot now, the Sportscrew Radio Network. See, Lou's going to be mad at me since we've been off so long, and then I almost forget who the hell is going to let us be on. But Lou still loves me. He said so. And me and Lou are doing baseball. I've been listening to this baseball podcast. I'm ready. Baseball, baby. That's what you need to get into, Chris.
No, thanks.
I know you're not very good at it.
No, I suck at it.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. We'll be back in a few weeks, and maybe we'll hit some of that best ball stuff and get you pumped up and start drafting, and we'll go from there. So, Chris, say goodnight.
Good night.
Dit zijn jouw favorieten.
I guess I got to hit the right button.
See, look at you.
This has been Just a Fantasy Fan Podcast. And to keep your fantasies going, follow us at justafantasyfan.com. Say good night. Good night.